All right, welcome to another Space Grand Challenge interview. Today we have a super special guest, a wonderful partner, friend for many, many years, and just super excited to have him today. My name's Henry, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell him all about what he does. But first of all, thanks for everyone watching Twitch stream live. This is happening. Woohoo! Go Space Grand Challenge. I hope all the players are having a great time. And I really appreciate all your skill sets and your determination and your tenacity to get it done and find the person of interest. Who was the person that did the bad stuff this year? All right, so please tell us what your name is, what your current focus is in the cybersecurity industry.
Yeah. First of all, Henry, thank you for giving me an opportunity to do this. My name is Hamlet. I am the vice president and one of the co-founders of a company called LMNTRIX. LMNTRIX, we built basically a extended detection and response platform, and then wrapped that around with an MDR service. So this is an EDR, this is packets, this is logs, this is deception technology. This is threat intelligence. This is, what we call like law enforcement level dark web, and then all wrapped around our services with full incident response. And then we install this and work with organizations across the world. But my part is I usually handle North America. I work with partners, engineers, threat analysts, the SOC team, obviously customers. So it's a pretty exciting, very, very exciting, and every day is different.
So what do you like about the Space Grand Challenge? You've been involved with it even when it was called CCIC back in the day. So
Yeah.
what do you like about it that intrigues you?
So it is unique in the entire United States. I don't think, and we talk to organizations all across, and we're traveling all the time. So there is not another organization that has put together a sort of a consolidated program from first responders to military to academia to industry partners that touches. What does it touch? It touches STEM topics, problem solving, cybersecurity, forensics, computer science, and obviously today machine learning and AI and all the buzz that's around that. So it is unique in that approach, and then it brings in these amazing middle school and high school kids into a real life competition. And I know many years ago we were doing these physically, and now we're doing them virtually. But to be able to say, oh yeah, hey, we had a satellite crash as an example. What really happens? Like we get police and fire involved, and then hey, why did the satellite crash? And suddenly it's getting escalated to the FBI, and then the FBI is escalating to potentially the NSA, and you're having forensics work done. So it's the entire chain, and it's really just problem solving, detective work, and trying to figure out the who, the where. You may never know why the why. But and how it occurred, and attribution in cybersecurity, is very hard, to attribute, hey, who really did this, because they can hide their tracks. So it's unique in that, and so it's absolutely amazing. I haven't seen another organization that does it in this manner, and so we're just happy to be part of it and be sponsors of it.
Awesome. And again, thanks for your sponsorship from the bottom of my heart to the young people that are trying to change their lives and get into cybersecurity and space and understand about forensics. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. So with offensive security, your expertise, what are some of the threat actors' latest techniques? What are they doing? What's interesting, Hamlet?
Yeah. So as always, it's always the low-hanging fruit. That's the easiest, right? And obviously, I know, Henry, you've got a book on this as well. And really, one of the things you got to be careful about. But one of the interesting, if you look at one of the interesting hacks from early this year in January, this the Microsoft hack, where it's called Midnight Blizzard. That's the group which is associated with a company with a APT group called Nobilium, which is associated with a Russian-based group, and they're very one of the most advanced APT groups that exists out there. And they were able to infiltrate Microsoft and eventually listen in on corporate emails of major executives to figure out what Microsoft knows, what knows about them. And so again, this is Microsoft. This is unlimited resources. They are the major investor in OpenAI and ChatGPT. They have access to the latest and greatest technologies, the latest and greatest large language models as it relates to AI and machine learning, right? And it was a couple of SOC engineers that were looking in the logs that discovered the data breach. Okay, so this is, again, what we would call one of the most advanced companies in the world, right? Being breached, and the way that breach happened is a very methodical password spray, but very low level, not high level, across using what we would call a residential proxy infrastructure. So coming in from multiple IPs, very low level, not to raise any alarms. They basically attacked a legacy application that did not have MFA. They logged in, again, back to the MFA, right? So they logged in. They discovered there was an OAuth application in there that had elevated privileges. So they lived off the land. They built their own OAuth applications, several of them brand new from scratch. They signed, they assigned that more elevated privileges. Then they basically came in using those applications and assigned mailbox permissions to that, and then basically started reading executives' emails. And mind you, this wasn't caught for 3 months or 4 months. With all of the latest AI and all the latest machine learning, and because machine learning, and I want to make a little topic about this, and I know we've got some questions around this, but Amazon, at the scale they're at, if you look at Amazon's, in how big Amazon is and the amount of money and amount of engineering wherewithal they have, they can't filter out fake product reviews on their website. If you're looking for some sort of a product and you go, that's a fake review, a human can tell very quickly. So then you're trying to apply AI to a much more complex topic. Can we catch an APT group with AI when we can't even really use machine learning and AI to filter out fake product reviews? So that's the reality of it today. Now AI has made tremendous jumps. It can tell the difference between a cat, and a dog very easily. What OpenAI built with Sora and image generation and video generation, absolutely amazing. But we're still a long way from machine learning and AI being able to by itself catch a human threat actor. Today we still believe it takes a human to catch a human. So that's one of the interesting things that I kind of wanted to sort of discuss today a little bit.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what's interesting about that Microsoft story is the advanced techniques that they employed or implied during that, all those steps they did and made their own app. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to find out what kind of level of, I'll just say, hacker or threat actor that is. And remember, this is a group. This isn't just like 3 or 4 people. This is professionals. And my guess is they throw a lot of money at them, and look what they were able to do. And I know a little bit of social engineering is in there because of the spraying, right?
Sure.
And I'll just say passwords. Please change your passwords, people, for the love of Pete. How many more times I got to bang that in your head?
Awareness is the key. Just being aware. A quick side blurb. I was sitting at my desk, my phone rings, and it's Amazon. And apparently I've ordered. I'm sorry. It was AT&T. Sorry, it was AT&T. Right. It shows up as AT&T. Hi Hamlet. Did you order a new iPhone? I'm like, no, I did not. Well, there's one being shipped to Iowa, and I live in California. So we caught this with our fraud detection tools, and we want to verify a couple of things. We're going to send you a text, right? So I'm in the middle of a bunch of stuff, and we're going to send you a text. I'm like, okay, hold on. I go, stop. Did you get the text? Can you read the text back to us? I go, hold on. I go, can I call back in and get connected back into AT&T fraud department? He goes, well, you can't call us. We're in AT&T fraud. I'm like, so you're telling me, right, that AT&T, I can't call you? He goes, well, you can call this direct number. I go, no. I want to call 1-800-AT&T, the main number, and I want to patch into you. And so then I started questioning. I'm like, what address? I go, but very sophisticated, right? I go, where's my home address? He goes, well, we can't give you that because that's PII information. So they make it sound like they're legit, absolutely and so very quickly I'm like, oh, this is, so then they basically hung up on me, right? But that could have easily caught anybody that is really not in tech, maybe your grandma, your grandpa, and it's something. What they're trying to do is maybe add another device, maybe they've already got your password, try to add another device in, So now they can get access to your MFA capabilities and then log into your bank and et cetera. So
Yeah,
beware.
so sophisticated, Hamlet. I mean, even you and me who do this every day have to
Yeah.
question it. And my biggest thing about what you just said was urgency.
Yes.
That guy or that girl that was pounding the urgency, let me call you back. Stop what
Yes.
you're doing.
Yes.
I'm about to ruin, and let me just like, okay, I'm gonna get back to you. I'll get
Yeah.
back to you. Thank you. And it stops the hack right
Yeah.
there. And that's beautiful. I love the fact that he hung
I
up.
just saw the movie Beekeeper,
Uh-huh.
and then in the beginning of that movie, it's interesting because they basically socially engineer one of the actors, and she ends up allowing the threat actors to log in, and they clear out her bank accounts, and that's how the
Oh,
kind of starts. And it's a little bit of a violent movie, but it's a good beginning from some cybersecurity perspective.
it's awesome. All right. So if you could share a couple pieces of advice about how to keep their data secure, what do you think you could say?
Yeah, it sounds like a broken record, right? Just being aware, right? Awareness is I think just number one. Just being aware, just in general, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what you're doing around the computer, and all the basics, right? MFA, long, strong passwords. Make sure data, at both at rest and in transit is encrypted. So it's all the basics. It's a general cyber hygiene, and this is the same thing that we tell companies that we're working with, and they want to bring in like an advanced company like us to do monitoring. We're always saying, hey, you haven't even done the basics yet, right? We brought in a large government organization. This is like 4 years ago, Henry, very well known, and they had not implemented MFA, and now like 2.5, 3 years later, they're almost there, by the way, with MFA implementation. Almost. So very slow process, right? So, but that will eliminate a significant amount. So I don't know if there's one specific
Yeah.
answer to this, other than if I were to pick one, I'd say just be aware. But there is a list, right? And you can Google these lists, and from an organizational perspective, obviously make sure you have good business continuity, good backups, ability
Mhm.
to respond, and you have to have resiliency. So what that means is a single social engineering attack against one of your employees should never result in the entire corporation or organization being breached, ever. So, case in point, Uber. Uber has been breached multiple times. This last one was a single. This was now almost like a year ago. They basically socially engineered one of their senior, engineers, and they got in, and it was done for fun by a 19-year-old out of the UK. Literally, it was done for fun. But if that was a nation state organization, a single social engineering attack on one single employee resulted in that threat actor getting access to the Amazon admin console, the Slack infrastructure, the identity management infrastructure, every single application within Uber. They could have shut down Uber and caused havoc if he wanted to. He just did it for fun. Obviously he was caught, but so again, how do you defense in depth is segmentation. There's a whole concept of zero trust is out there, which is really more of a journey than really a single set of technologies. So and it's confusing, I think, even for the professionals out there, even for the CISOs who
Mhm.
are in this business, right? The chief security officers, the VP of security. It's confusing for them too, in a lot of cases, like, because otherwise, I was just doing a talk on this, right? I wasn't even thinking about this. Let me see if I can find it real quickly. It is a list of data breaches that I started with the talk. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
okay, so Western Digital, right? I started my talk this way. Western Digital, California Department of Finance, CNA Insurance, Rackspace, Latitude Financial, MGM, Caesars, Johnson Controls, HCA Healthcare, Fidelity National Financial, Staples, 23andMe, Okta, New York Bar, IBM, Idaho National Labs, AutoZone, Toyota, Samsung, Zacks Investment Research, T-Mobile for the work time or something, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, the United States Commerce State Department, where threat actors infiltrated and were able to read Gina's emails. She's a cabinet official. Every one of those companies has had a data breach over the last year and a half. And these are
Mind
not
blowing.
mind-blowing, and these are not small organizations. Idaho National Labs does nuclear research for the United States government. It's one of the primary facilities. And so and all these companies have multi-million-dollar stocks. They have armies of folks, and so this is the field that I think your students are getting into, right? It's vast. It hasn't been figured out, right? When you go to Black Hat and you're walking the floor like we do, Henry, and we walk in there, and I'm like, gosh, there's a lot of vendors here. There's something like 2,500 vendors, right? And I'm like, I feel like we should have this thing figured out by now.
Right. Yeah, it
Like,
should be close.
but we don't. It's
No.
actually not even close. It's actually getting worse.
Yeah.
And you know why it's getting worse. It's getting worse, right? So
Yeah.
these are the things that we're dealing with. So it's super exciting to be in. And there's so many areas of within this. There's infrastructure, there's security, there's policy, there's governance, there's incident response, there's forensics, there's infrastructure. There's so many components to this.
Yeah. Okay, so our last question, and again, thank you. This has been so fun. I love talking to Hamlet. It's always like, OMG, friends. So how do you think the AI and the ML will be used in cybersecurity in the future?
Yeah, well, we see it already. Literally day one when ChatGPT was made available to the public, threat actors started using it right away to write phishing emails. So it's amazing. So we've seen a massive increase over the last year since ChatGPT from OpenAI was released, and other large language models. There's not just them. There's a ton of other ones now. There's open source ones you can download. But so the massive increase in phishing attacks, so that's one. Two, early versions of those large language models didn't have a lot of controls, a lot of safety around them. And so you can say, I need to write a program basically, and that does this, copies this data, moves this around, injects into the process. So it's basically writing malware for you. And then hey, right. So then they started putting controls around it, where you can't. It's harder. I don't want to say it's impossible. It's harder to get something like a ChatGPT to write malware. So what's going to happen, and what we're seeing is a massive proliferation of additional attacks. The threat, so the machine learning and the AI and a lot of these large language models are great for us, right, as defenders and investigators. But it's also great for the threat actors. So they're going to have access to the same models. So eventually, you're going to Facebook has open sourced their Llama, very advanced, and so a lot of the organizations have. So they're going to have access to the same models, and so it's going to be a continuous fight. I think over the next decade, you will see a continued increase in cyber attacks, and then hopefully at some point, and maybe a decade down, we'll hopefully see a little bit some evenness. But it is again amazing tool. And it's going to help the threat actors as much as it's going to help the defenders.
Yeah, and I got my fishing hat on today, gone fishing. And one of the things I show my students is, okay, hey, write me a phishing email. And it shoots back, no, I can't help you. That's illegal. That's blah, blah, blah. Okay, hey, write me an email for an end of year bonus.
Right.
What? The end of year bonus is the phishing email.
Is the phishing email.
Beautiful, beautiful end of year bonus. I tweak it for 6 minutes and boom. And again, I'm not encouraging this. I'm telling you so that because there are ethics out there, and we don't do this to hurt people. We do this to help people. So that's another big thing I was going to say.
What I've noticed is if you have a good handle, if you're a good writer, right? Just generally a good writer, what something like a ChatGPT does, it kind of lowers your skill level in all honesty. If you're a poor writer, right, you just don't have a good handle on the English language, and you use ChatGPT, it makes you above average, right?
Right.
And so I've seen people when I get emails, I'm like, what? I know you don't talk like that. I know I've talked to you. That's not the way you verbally speak. And the way you verbally speak is the way you typically write in most fashion. And so I'm like, you wrote that using ChatGPT. I can tell, And so I think there's going to be companies that generate other large language models that are able to detect these language models. So AI can detect AI. And there's a bunch of companies working on this right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Our conversation today has been, pardon my French, bitching Camaro, just really awesome. I hope that the students and everyone watching today got a little bit about this. I always love talking with you. As I said before, Hamlin, it's been a super joy. And thank you for supporting the humans and the little people that are trying to change our lives in the next generation of cyber warriors, or cyber knots, I like to call them, that are going to help us stop the threat actors in the future. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Take care, everyone.